it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Ray. That is the Fans Forum on a Monday night. We've had a week off, and it is a big welcome to George, to Darren, to Ian, to Barry, to Kevin, to Alan, and to Vince, and a big welcome back to Spenny Mag, who hasn't been on for a while. Good to see you all, chaps. And as always, plenty to talk about in the next hour about Newcastle United. And I guess it's a good opportunity for me, as the host of NUFC Matters, to be able to say to the panel tonight, are you getting a bit nervous about the transfer window? Because there was a cross section on Twitter who seemed to be, getting rather concerned. Other people, like a lot of us on this platform, me, Stu, Steve, Mitch in particular, are all saying trust the process. The window's open until the 1st of September. I guess it's a good opportunity for us to get a cross section of supporters' opinions. So, George, you feature on a few of the shows on the platform on a weekly basis. But give us your view, George. Are you concerned at the moment that Newcastle haven't made more inroads yet, or are you in our camp of what will be, and time will be the
Absolutely.
the teller?
I'm with the trust the process side. I've got to say, I thought Eddie Howe's interview after the Gateshead match was masterful. He gave the press what they wanted without saying very much, really. And I think behind that, there are things happening off the field and behind the scenes that we don't know about. I'm convinced of that. And like all these agents, things that's coming out about different players, I think that's where that's mostly coming from. But for me personally, I'm content that probably by the end of this week, we'll see a major difference. And certainly by the 1st of September, it'll be a whole different scenario, I think, for me. So I'm not jittery or nervous. I'm just happy to sit back and let it happen. Let's face it, it's what we did last year. That we weren't going to do this, we weren't going to do that. And then all of a sudden, we had this new centre forward that very few people knew about, yet he was being hailed by others abroad. So, no, I'm not nervous. It just we'll get on with it, and it's a nice surprise when it all happens, and I think that's how it'll happen.
You're on mute.
Just realised that. Darren, what about you? Are you concerned?
A little bit, because we were saying before, I was expecting to have one more in by now. And then anyhow, what he said last season, he wanted them in early, didn't he? I'm not starting to get, because I want players in now to get ready for the start of the season, because it'll be before it'll be on 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, won't it? And then seeing get up running. So I don't think we need to get moving a bit quicker, just really, so we're relaxed. But it is a lot of clubs. Well, a lot of clubs asking for too much money as well. And again, I think the PIF are just being careful what they can spend and who they can get. And the wages is that we need to get rid of players too before we get players in.
All right, Ian, concerned? Yes or no?
No, not concerned at all. I think it's what we always say: trust the process. I think we've probably got the most important person that we needed most desperately at the end of the season, which was another quality midfielder who, if Bruno got injured, he could do what Bruno does. That's what we missed when Bruno was away. I think that there's a lot more going on. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors. We will sign other people. I think what Eddie said in his interview, after the Gateshead match was quite poignant. That we need other players, and I think that is something that will happen. The quality of what we can get, I think people are downplaying, and I think the club's downplaying how much money we've got to spend. For me, I think we've got all the money we need to spend without taking the proverbial, if you want to put it that way. We will sign quality players, and we'll have another 2 or 3 quality players coming into the squad. But we've got to wait because we don't want to have the Mickey taken out of us. So yeah, no, I'm not worried. It's one of them squeaky bum times, isn't it, where everyone's just got to hold the nerve. And for me, it doesn't help that people are saying, you know, oh, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. There couldn't be better people behind the scenes doing our business for us. So if we don't get players, it's because they're not the right players or they're not at the right price. And everybody said that if you remember last January, everyone said, we haven't done this, we haven't done that. And we didn't. We should have. For me, we should have got another midfielder, but we still got Champions League.
Okay, Barry, you're doing the research for us and you know, making that list. It was at 198 this weekend, probably gone over to the 200 mark now. You know, we're certainly not in the region of signing lots of those players, are we? We've only brought in, you know, the two which will trouble the first team anyway for now. But are you concerned, Barry? Are you getting worried yet?
It's a hard one. I mean, we're up at 202, I think, on the list. I think we did pass the big 200 with KK getting a mention. I think he was almost...
Hold on, not KK. Sponsored by Stu Penman, Vicha Varat Sheila.
Vicha Varat Sheila. Okay.
Well, KK, yeah.
He was almost number 200. I think the only thing that sort of worries you is Howe's comments, which doesn't normally... thing is, but I'm saying that he wanted them in pre-season training, he wanted to have a decent run at them, get them up and running. It made it sound like the USA tour was when he wanted people in and around the squad, which makes you think it's a bit strange that we haven't gotten it. I mean, I was looking at the list today, Steve, of who we've got in the squad, and to be honest, if we didn't sign anybody else, would it be that much of a major clanger?
No.
The team we've got and how well they did last season, if we performed at the same sort of standards last season, yes, we're going to get a few injuries. Yes, we might have a couple of wobbly games where you're not totally up to full strength. And yes, the European games will stretch us, but we're not. You're only looking at a couple of players in key positions. I mean, we seem to go after mountains of left backs, mountains of centre halves. We've got decent centre halves. We've got centre halves in reserve. We've got left backs. You've got left backs in reserve. Yes, they might not be world class left backs, but they'll do a job. If Dummett had to come in, if we got to that stage and we had no Target, we had no Dan Burn, Dummett would do a job for us. And it's a hard one, isn't it? Because I think what's just been said there is right. It shows that we're not prepared to get the mick taken out of us. The wages that people are asking for, the likes of Madison, who wanted however much he wanted, and how much Leicester wanted, unfortunately, we couldn't do. I think you've just got, it's like you said, Steve, you've got to trust the club. It may be taking a little bit longer but it certainly looks like we're damn well trying. I think.
Can I just say as well, Barry, look at the kids who played the other day. I know it was against Gateshead, but Murphy looked quality, I thought, at centre back. You know, the likes of, like, what's his name? Sorry.
Miley.
Yeah.
Miley.
Yeah. Miley, that ball he played through, these are quality players coming through. And so if we're struggling, there are players there that can come back to, you know, we've got some good players now in the academy. They've spent money, or small or big or whatever, but they've brought some good players in, and I think we're I think we're on the right tracks, and we don't have to absolutely smash it. We just have to keep on the upwards trajectory.
I mean, that's it. I think because of the owners that we've got, everybody expects us to spend this huge whopping amount of money. and outspend other teams. And because of financial fair play, we can't do that. We're stuck. We can only do so much. And just you've got to trust that the club's doing what's right. It's very rare that the current ownership gets things wrong. So I've got faith in them, Steve.
But Barry, that financial fair play, it's worth remembering the money we got for position in the league is what bought the Italian. We haven't spent any other money, really. Not yet.
Yeah, good point. Jimmy, good evening. Good to see you, the Atlanta gynecologist. And dog whisperer. After seeing some of these pictures on Twitter, but yeah, Jimmy, are you getting nervous? I've stuck a poll up in the chat. Actually, are you worried about Newcastle's transfer window? Yes, 18%. No, 82%. Give it a vote and let us know. But what about you, Jimmy? How do you feel?
I'm not worried one bit. I figured, since you had a Jordy Dennis on, you need a good Atlanta gynecologist. No, and the list you named out with over 200 players that we've been linked with just tells me that we're getting whipped up into a frenzy by people that know just as little as we do. The journalists have no idea what they're talking about for the most part. Just throwing stuff out there, mostly from agents. Like Mitch had mentioned before, we're in the Champions League, and there's no way that PIF is going to is going to drop the ball right now. They're going to give us what we need. I thought Eddie's comments on Saudi loaned players was kind of interesting. Would that be something that we would fall back on if we couldn't get the signings we need in? Would PIF maybe turn to some of these players in the Saudi league and maybe loan a few to us as a fallback? But no, I mean, we're going to get business done. The problem is we had nothing for so long. Now that we've got a little taste of something, everyone wants instant gratification and not willing to see out the process. Firmly, even if we didn't make another signing, I still think we would be challenging top 4 again next year. But we're going to bring in players, and I'm not worried about it. You guys would lose your mind if this were the NFL and you had 7 months between the end of the season and the start of the season.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
People would go crazy, and we'd be linked with over 1,000 players.
Oh no!
Yeah, crazy. Okay, Vince, what's your views?
All right.
I'm like most of else, but I just want to say, Jimmy, the Atlanta gynecologist, do you work for private healthcare? Says, just want to get that in. Right, okay. No, I say that totally trust. Just these people, they're going off. It's somehow they all know how much money Newcastle's got. They're all going, oh, they can't afford him, they can't afford wages, they can't afford this. Talking about Madison. Did we even put a bid in for him? You don't even know. They're just making. It just makes me laugh. I sit there and just go, it's amazing. How they know all this information, because I know nothing. But it's no. I'm totally behind the process. They've got plans. Like Tonali, nobody expected that. That's been along. They've been at that for a while to make sure that he's coming in. We didn't see any of that. Nobody heard any of that. And it's the same. That's what I keep on saying. They will keep on going. And now the quality that they're going for, the standard we want to be up there, and to be there, we've got to have quality players. And that's what they're looking at. They're going for these big players, and some of them might take a little bit longer than others. Tonali came in earlier. Some of them might take a bit longer, but I'm totally confident in the process, totally confident. And like George said, like, says there, like the money that we finished in the league, that's still only, we ain't spent nothing yet. So like, says, you've just got to trust what they're doing. Like, says, and Eddie Howe, like, says, he's just like, says, he's just, I think he's just, he likes his, he's a wizard. He knows how to play the press and all that, and he knows what he's doing. Like, oh, look over there. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And we're not. It's over there. Like, says, right, okay. Like, I've just total faith. Like, says, absolutely, just fully behind them. They know what they're doing. They're going for the right players. Like, says, Tonali, again, looks like a lad, like, he looks like he's got the right attitude. I mean, we went to AC Milan and bought their best player. I mean, come on. If that doesn't show you what we're doing now and where we are, we're stepping it up now. Like, says, so yeah, I've got total faith. Total faith.
Good stuff. Okay. Alan, are you as happy as Vince seems to be?
Oh,
Well,
no.
I'm massively worried. Who's going to count the 95 million euros for this player? It'll take them a month and a half to count the money out before we get it over to the Napoli player. I'm not really at all, lads. I think it's great. Well, I think with players 2 years ago, they wouldn't even dreamed about signing. 2 years, we've got to have the infrastructure. It just shows you how much Ashley destroyed the club. I hate mentioning his name again, but it has to be told. I watched the show last night and Stu and Mitch was spot on. We're paying, 50 million for Tonali and we're only paying 10 million per year. So FFP won't come into play. I think it's massively, overhyped this by the club as well, mind, for a cover story. So I'm not worried at all. If we get 2 or 3 players in by the end of this term, it's massive. You've got to remember, lads, all the clubs above we have been at this game, and they're after the same players. How many players have we been linked with the same clubs? Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United, all after the same players. It's harder than ever to get quality players in, and like Vince says and the lads before us, it's going to be hard work getting these deals over the line. So I'm not worried. And if we get 2 or 3 players, I must admit, I would like a left back, even though we've got about 10 in the squad, and I would like a top striker. But you know what I mean, lads? Keep her cool. It's like what Barry says. You've got to, and Ian says, you've got to keep your cool, man. No worry. And like Vince says, trust the process. And Jim, it's one of them. So I'm not worried at all, lads.
Okay, that's good. Spenny, welcome back, mate. As I said at the top of the show, good to see you on the show, mate. Are you a bit concerned, Spenny, or are you pretty much like the panel seems to be, trusting the process?
Oh no, definitely a no. But he's point straight. The players we have upgrade we've already got. Not after the upgrade.
Yeah, sounds a little bit dodgy, Spenny. Have you got your mic somewhere? Which maybe you might pick your phone up. It just sounds a bit off.
You hear us now, mate?
Perfect.
Yes.
Right. At the end of the day, it's a no, because the moment at the time these transfer window, we're going for upgrade of our players, and the upgrade of these players is going to be hard to find, because you're talking about the team last season that nearly should have beaten Man City twice. They should have beat Liverpool away. They should have beaten Arsenal away. And Man City is the best in Europe. So you look at this way, these lads here who we've got on this team, whoever we get in, is going to be an upgrade of them. So you're talking 60, 70 million. These 60, 70 million deals take a long time. Also, the Tulani deal, like George said earlier, this was made from the money the club made. It's not from Saudi money pumped in to get transfers from PIF or wherever it's coming from. It's from what the club made last season in getting a position in the league, the TV revenue, and everything else. You just got to trust what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And Eddie Howe's remarks at the match at Kate he said exactly the same the last 3 windows. The same speech. We need players in. We need them in now. It's the same thing after. It's pitch perfect what he said in the last 3 windows. Don't worry, lads. We'll get somebody in. I can see another 2 coming in by next week. Easy.
Okay, bit of confidence there from Spenny. Kevin?
Not worried at all.
to be honest. Again, trust the process, not the outcome. The outcome will come after the process is done. So, and again, but in my opinion, to keep it short, I don't think the club wanted to have the pants pulled down and just being rash and taking risk-heavy decisions, essentially. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about it. Yeah, you can look into the free agent loan market if it all goes belly up, essentially, and see what that market looks like further down the road. But I think as of now, it's, talking to these players, talking to whoever it is. Again, we don't know. I've said this a lot all the while. It's like, who they're actually talking to, I don't know. You don't know, and nobody knows. So again, we'll just have to see where the plane literally lands and who actually comes through the door, and just trust Dan Ashworth with his scouting team and Steve Nixon's scouting team to see what players they actually need. They know what they want. I mean, we know what we need, but at the same time, it's essentially up to them. They make them big decisions to take the club forward. Hopefully we'll get maybe one, maybe two. Agree with spending one or two, not before we go fly over here to the US, because the fly out Tuesday. So that might be a little bit of a time sensitive matter, but hopefully a couple within there by the end of this week. Really, that would be more positive, in my opinion. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Then we'll see what happens. It's a week by week thing, day by day. It could change all tomorrow, and we'll not be talking about it anymore.
Yeah, it can be frustrating at times, but let's remember. Final word on this today is that the transfer window is open until the 1st of September. Yes, it'll be frustrating for Eddie Howe if you can't get players through the door before the big kickoff. But the penultimate week is always the week where things start to happen, and this build up to pre-season is always very difficult as well. There's agents, there's journalists, there's footballers, everybody in the mix can be putting a story out here and there. But I think what we've got to remember is Newcastle United are a different beast these days. And we've already made, I think it was Vince, put the point across very well, that we've already just signed AC Milan's best player, for a record fee. And from our perspective, that's a great signing. We've signed one of the best youngsters and loaned him out to Feyenoord, and he finds himself already in the first team at Feyenoord. So yeah, it will be interesting. Somebody in the chat did ask about Garen Qual. No news on him at the moment, but he is going back out on loan. So no surprise not to see him not involved at Gateshead, and I wouldn't panic that he hasn't been involved with the under-21s. He is going to go back out on loan, not to Hearts. We would imagine it's going to be somewhere where he's got more of a chance of getting a game, maybe like a Bristol, like Elliot Anderson benefited from, somewhere like that. So yeah, don't panic that you haven't seen him. Certainly no news from the club that he's injured or anything. So one would imagine they're just going to get a loan deal and sort that out ASAP. Okay, we're coming up towards halfway through the show. I'll play the ads now. We'll be back after this. Big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website skipsandbins.com. Easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks also to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. If you want to order some, then you can go to their website, mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks also to New Workwear. They were set up in 2018 and they are an agile and dedicated workwear provider. You can find them at their website, newworkwear.com. Thanks to Media Arts as well for all the help with the video side of things. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button under this video. Hit the thumb up to like the video and click share to share to your other social media. We're also available as a podcast on your podcast providers such as iTunes and Spotify. If you'd like to take out a cult membership, which means you get a cup, a pen, a membership card, a scarf, and entry into the monthly draw, and put your smartphone over this QR code now. It'll take you straight to the site. You can set up and pay a one-off fee of £25. Alternatively, go to NUFCmatters.com and check for membership. If you're a subscriber, you can apply for a free car sticker. Just email John at NUFCmatters.com to claim yours today. The new Shearer raffle is up and running. 150 tickets, £1 a ticket to win a limited edition Alan Shearer signed ball. Enter now at NUFCmatters.com. We've got a couple of events coming up. Newcastle United question and answer live with Liam Kennedy, Jordan Cronin and Dominic Skur from Newcastle World and the Shields Gazette, in association with NUFC Matters, takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre, 11th of August at 7 p.m, and tickets are a £5. The Christmas event will be with Frank Clark and John Gibson, Thursday, December the 7th at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets are £15 from nufcmatters.com. And Waddle, Keegan and Beardsley, the class of 84, with special guests, takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House on Westcott Road in Newcastle on Thursday, January the 25th. Tickets are available direct from the theatre, 0844 24 91 000, or go to the website for further details. And don't forget, starting on the 7th of August, you will be able to hear myself, Steve Wraith, on the Northeast Footy Breakfast. This comes to you in association with the Toon Radio, 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock, 5 days a week. Check out the Facebook for more details. Okay, a question in from Paul Toon. He says, question for you guys. Out of the Cartel 6 and us, which manager do you think will be sacked first? Kevin, do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at it. I think Jurgen Klopp's might be might be on the chopping block first, and or the Tottenham manager. If he doesn't hit the ground running, Postecoglou, whatever he's called, I think he might be in a bit of danger, because I don't know. I haven't seen how he plays. I don't know what the style of football he plays, but I think with the seasons both had, I think they need to hit the ground running. And if they don't, I think it'll be either or both.
Okay, Spenny. Any of the top 6? Do you think any of the top 6 managers will be on the chopping block, or do you think that they're all safe? What's your thoughts? Klopp's an interesting one.
I think Spurs will be the manager, will be the first to go. I can't even believe that they're even Spurs' appointment. I think it's there for disaster myself.
Interesting. Okay, Postecoglou's the man who I think a lot of people feel might go. Alan?
Well, yeah, as you know, lads, I go on a lot of podcasts and from different clubs, and they reckon Eddie Howe. Honestly, a lot of them think after 12 months, if we don't make top 4 again, that Eddie Howe will be the one that will go first. But I agree with Kevin and Spenny Mag. I think the Spurs manager is probably slight favourite of the 6 to go. But I don't think any of them will go, really, lads, to be honest, truthful, this season anyway. But I think Klopp is under immense pressure, lads, if he doesn't make top 4 this season. And I'm praying that Liverpool don't make top 4, because a lot of them players will be thinking how we joined the wrong club. I've mentioned it before a few weeks ago. I think if Liverpool don't make top 4, a lot of players that have joined in the last few years will be wondering if they've joined the right club. So I think Spurs and Liverpool, like Kevin said, to be honest, and Spenny Mag, Spurs for me.
Okay.
The podcast you've gone on, because I won't be watching him. Eddie Howe, never going to get
honestly, the Liverpool fans are the worst. They're convinced if Eddie Howe doesn't make top 4, they're good manager, but he won't make the grade. So what fans from other clubs and everybody says that if Eddie Howe doesn't make it, what they're saying is no English manager is good enough. That's what they're saying in my eyes, my opinion. No English manager is good enough to win the Premier League. That's what they're saying now.
Tell them they have bin dips and bins, man.
Jimmy, what about you? Top 6 manager? Could you see one of them going first?
As a lifelong Red Sox fan over here in the States, John Henry has a really itchy trigger finger.
Yeah.
And if Klopp doesn't get Champions League, there's going to be immense pressure on him. And I really don't think he's enjoying his time in the Premier League as much these days. I think he just, if a big job came open back in Germany, let's say at Dortmund, I think he'd run back to there just because of how the financials work over there. I think he's really getting a little disenchanted with the Premier League, and John Henry isn't patient. So I could easily see him being the first to go, whether it's by firing or mutual consent.
Okay, Vince.
Yeah, I have to agree with I'm a bit shocked about Eddie Howe there, but I kind of stumped us there. I'm gonna see that, but
Well, Eddie Howe's in the mix. If you think about it, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
a lot of people would never have thought Newcastle fans would turn against Sir Bobby Robson, but they did. For the heinous crime of finishing in the top 5. So I mean,
disgusting.
yeah,
Terrible.
but this is what could happen. It could happen,
Yeah.
But anybody else in the mix? Do you think Postecoglou's the guy? Or?
No, I've said, his Tottenham's got a really nice stadium for the championship. I think I kind of see. They keep on going on about they're saying, oh, Tottenham will come back this season, Chelsea will come back this season. Blah blah blah. There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
Tottenham, if Kane doesn't stay, they've got to replace the 20 or 30 goals he scores a season. Are they going to do that? I doubt it. I cannot see that happening. I think they're going to struggle again. Chelsea, get Pochers come in, but are them players going to mix and play as a team? They didn't manage last season. I know terrible manager, but there is no guarantee that is going to happen. That is going to work. People say Klopp, Liverpool, you can see he's getting stressed, shouting all the time, constantly blaming Newcastle for everything and anything. He just it could be he gets stressed, not doing well. If they don't start kicking in, I don't think season beginning like they did last season, then you could possibly see Klopp could be in the mix as well. So it's for me, it could be. I think you're looking at Postecoglou's probably the favourite. But anyhow, I think the process, what they're trying to do here and building, and they want to build it round and what Howe's doing in that is just fantastic. So it'll take a lot, I think. But no, I've got bye bye Tottenham, bye bye.
Okay, Barry.
Well,
I'm torn because I think it depends on what happens. I think for me, I would be concerned at Chelsea. I think the guy who's running Chelsea's a complete knacker. And if they have a bad start the season and there's to and fro between Pochettino and him, I don't know if he would walk. And there'll be no surprises there. And the other one I think is Arsenal. And I don't think it'll be the case he's sacked. I think he's already been mentioned a couple of times to the PSG job. And if PSG had a bad start, which they weren't particularly great last season with all the crap they've got going on with players going out and Mbappe and everything else, I wouldn't be surprised if PSG didn't come in for Arteta again. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think if Arsenal don't get off to a great start, there's a lot of pressure on them as well. I think you might do a runner, but I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And it's no longer the top 6, is it? It's now it's the top 8, because I think the same with Villa. I think Villa will be under pressure on how they performed last season. He's got to try and recreate that. They're spending money and they've got to move on. But I would have thought, bloody hell, Eddie Howe's got to be the bottom of the 8, potentially to get sacked. We're 2 or 3 years ahead of where we should be. He should at least have those 2 years leeway to get us to where we want to be before anybody starts having a go at him. But like you say, Steve, who would have thought Sir Bobby would have gotten brief? And the guy was an absolute legend.
Yeah. Okay, Ian.
If there's any pressure on Eddie Howe this season for not finishing in the top 8, I think it'll be a flipping disgrace, and that's put it politely. We, like Barry said, we're 2 years ahead of where we should be. We've got a lot more games, minimum of 46 games, and that's if we get knocked out of everything at the first stage, which we won't do, And we've performed way above expectations last year. He's improved players unbelievably so, and that's what he does. So, I would say, I know it might be controversial, but I would take us not even qualifying for Europe next season, but bringing in good players and bringing on the players we've got. I don't think that'll happen. I can't see that happening, but Eddie Howe to me is the man to take Newcastle forward. I really do believe that. And if anyone turns against him, for me, they're not really Newcastle fans. They're Muppets. You know, for what he's done, he deserves at least another 2 seasons to mould a team together and to make a team. And that's what he's done. He's not made a group of players better. He's made a team of players play as a team, which we've never had for years. If you want to ask us who's going to get sacked, I would imagine, unfortunately, it's probably going to be the Aussie, because I don't think you don't get the lickings of a dog for Tottenham because of the people who are in charge there. It's probably as apart from the fact that they're a great business, they've got a great stadium. They're probably in as much turmoil on the football field as we were under the fat Cockney person, you know. Don't like to swear on yours, Steve.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, you know, no, but I think that anybody who turns on Eddie Howe for me is not a Toon fan. Definitely not.
How long would you give him, Ian? I was going to.
I'll give him 3 seasons from now.
A question, because it took 3 seasons for Keegan to mount the challenge for the title in the 90s. We finished 3rd, 5th, and 6th, and then we went for the title. So it took him 3 full seasons, then on the 4th one. And I was going to say to the lads, you know, in the back of your minds, how long do you give Eddie Howe? You know,
the problem is, Alan, that it's a different era now, isn't it? And it's the added bonus for us that we've got super rich owners. However, we are hamstrung by financial fair play, and I think that's got to come into a lot of people's thoughts. It has. Yes. Let's finish up. Let's finish up with Darren and George's views on who they think might go. But that's an interesting one, Alan. I'll come back to that. Darren, your take. Any of the top 6? Do you think potentially going to walk the plank early doors this season?
Probably Clough and Potts and the Tottenham manager if they're a good start. But like I kind of agree with Ian there. Like if Eddie Howe doesn't even finish in the top 8, people will be saying sack him. They're not football fans, because what we all know last season we overachieved massively, but they all merit, and get us wrong.
Even you didn't believe it, Darren.
I know, but I didn't believe it, but
I still don't think he does.
I know. I paid for the £500 Champions League ticket the other day.
Yeah.
But no, like, if we don't finish in the top 8, or I just hope people don't come on and sack it, because he's useless. He's not useless. He's a clever manager, and it'll take at least another 2 years just to get in the top 4, top 5 to compete with them.
Yeah.
Okay, George.
I think the lads have got it nailed. I think Klopp's got to be in there because he makes his mouth go, and as our friend from the States said, Henry isn't the man that takes that sort of thing. He sooner or later the two will clash, and that'll be the end of that. It'll be gone by mutual consent, I suspect. Postecoglou, or whatever they call him. What you need to remember, lads, is the last 5 jobs he's had, every job he's had, the press, the pundits have all said, "Oh, he's bloody awful," and he's gone on and won things. So be careful. But I do think in Tottenham it's different, not because of anything other than Levy. How people work for that man, I don't know. You know, it just beggars belief the way he seems to run the thing. From up there without nothing going down to the manager until it's too late by the look of things. So, Liverpool and Tottenham are my favourites as well.
All right, George, start off with this one. Alan's asked the question, how long would you give Eddie Howe? I don't expect you to anybody to say, well, he's got to go if we don't do well this season. But George, I mean, 2025 is a suggestion in the chat. I'm just trying to find the comment now by would-be farmer. There you go. Agree, Howe's report card, as he calls it, shouldn't be viewed until 2025 June unless he is caught drunk with sheep or something, which is an interesting suggestion, would be, Farmer. I presume it's your farming experience made you suggest
Not
that.
even then.
Or his first date.
He's barking up the wrong tree. But anyway, 2025. Okay, that's a couple of years' time, George. So that would fit into that remit of giving him a couple of years' grace for what he's done.
If at the end of 2 years we haven't been knocking on the door, but I'm not saying winning things, but we haven't been knocking on the door of some of the cups or other things and still battling away at the top four, then he's in danger. But I can't see that happening. I take confidence out the gates at game. I just an example. Young Elliot Anderson in that game, when it was all going wrong, I was looking for Richie or one of the senior players to take charge. And who took charge? Young Elliot Anderson. He played the 3 different positions, controlled the game after that, and we were back in it. So if they can do that with him and others, and it was interesting to see how the other kids fitted in straight away. So no, 2 years at least for Eddie Howe before we even need to think about it.
Yeah, and Andy, it's a point that Alan brought up. I'm sure you've been watching the show anyway, but it's a point that he brought up because, believe it or not, people will suggest it. It will come. You've got to be ready for this. That if Newcastle finds themselves 8th coming up to Christmas and out of the League Cup, which they got to the final of last season, and struggling in the Champions League, I'm afraid there will be certain supporters who will call for Howe, and we need to replace him with somebody more experienced. It's a think
that way, Steve. Will the owners think that way as well?
Possibly. You just don't know. I mean, it depends on whether they think we've overachieved or whether they think, well, this is where we need to be and we're going to do it. It's such a fine balance. I mean, before I asked Darren the same question, would you give him a couple of years, Darren? You know, if we have an average season this season, my view is the biggest risk to Eddie Howe leaving is England. I genuinely think the England job would come calling for Eddie Howe before we decided to get rid of him. I think he'll still do a fantastic job. But Darren, what about you?
I think another 3 years. It takes at least 5 years for a manager to get his squad in now. This day and age, Steve, you kind of sack a manager and then expect to win the the Premiership in the next 2 years. Because when a manager comes in, at least takes 4 or 5 years to build his squad, to get his players in the future, which is starting to do already. It's a project, as we keep on saying. So to me, 3 years for me, really Howe. And you answered England. He did an interview last year, I believe. He says that's later on in life when he's older. At the minute, he want to be coaching and doing a part-time England job. That's like when I heard him say that. Yeah.
Okay. Ian, he's got to be given a bit more time, hasn't he? I mean, and you know, I personally think that Eddie Howe will continue in the same vein. There'll be a few bumps in the road. There always are. As a football fan, not just a Newcastle fan, but I think Eddie's got to be given a chance and given the opportunity to operate in a transfer window where he's not strung with financial fair play. Oh, you're on mute, Ian.
Sorry. Let's be honest. Everything he's done up to now has been on a tight budget. When you look at the players that he's improved, you know, you look at like Joe Linton. Every one of you probably would have got rid of Joe Linton for 10 million, not a few seasons ago. You look at what he's done with Murphy. You look at what he's done with Miggy. You look at across the whole team, across the whole squad. He's made all of them better, and these are now squad players. They might not be going forward first team players, but they'll be in the 25-man squad. And they'll be integral to what we do going forward. If we, because he has one shit season, decided to get rid of him, it would be the biggest mistake the club's ever made for me. He improves players, and he's obviously for me. I don't know whether I'm looking at it with Eddie Howe tinted glasses, but he's a lovely person. everybody around the club likes him, and all he does is think Newcastle United. That's all he's about. So why would you get rid of him? Who better? Can any of you say who better would you get in than him now? You know, because I couldn't say if a person, even if you said Pep Guardiola, for me, it's like Pep's transient. It feels to me that Eddie Howe is meant to be here. Let's give him time. I'd give him 5 years. And if we give him 5 years and give us time to build up the sponsorship money, you know, all the money that's going to come in from all the different areas, he will be successful, because the one thing he does is he tries and he builds a team, and the team we've got there is flipping brilliant. You know, like I look around, and I was even looking, you know, down the other day at Gateshead, the coaching staff, how much they cared. You know, it was a nothing match, but they were not very happy. I'm trying not to swear here. I've had a few beers. they weren't very happy, you know. And then the kids came on, and then you see the kids who are coming through. You know, Lewis Miley, that ball that he played through. Like I would not. I'll tell you now, I would not loan Miley out. Never. No. I would keep him with us this season. Yeah. And you see Anderson was the best player on the pitch by a country mile, you know. Maxi was decent. Do we get rid of Maxi? Yeah, people say you get money for him. Do we need to get rid of him? That's up to the people with the money. But I think that anyway, it's by the by. Going back, I would not get rid of Eddie Howe. I would give him 5 years, because the worst thing you can do is you can be a Chelsea, just sack every manager, sack them off because they don't do it for one season. Yeah, we've had nothing. I knew he swore again. We've had nothing for like 15 seasons. We've had the best season we've ever had. If we come 8th next season, is it the end of the world? No. Build on it. Build a proper team, build the mentality that we've got, the fans, all proper Newcastle fans are behind Eddie Howe, and anyone who isn't is not worth. I'll let Barry say what they are.
Go on then, Barry. What's your views, Eddie Howe? I mean, a lot of people in the chat saying exactly, you know, if we got rid of Howe, it would be crazy. Every English, you know, just saying if NUFC got rid of Howe, says Gary, it would change the blueprint of how we play. Top managers have bought their team. Eddie Howe's made his team from what looked like a team of losers when he arrived. Change Howe anytime soon, in my opinion. Half our team gets worse, says JB. Lots of people agreeing with what Ian said. So yeah, Barry, I mean, it's not that we're saying that it's possible. We're just saying that, you know, Alan made the point, and Alan often brings up things like this on a Monday, which are great. You know, that's what the fans forum's all about. It's about a debate. What's your view?
I mean, you look at how he's 45-year-old. He's got years to go if he wanted to take the England job. I don't think there's any particular rush in that. I think England's need is more than Howe's need to have their job. The difference with him is he's not creating a team; he's helping to create a club. With the owners, it's a bigger picture. He's helping to build the club back up to where it should be. Like we've said a few times, he's not just creating the first team; he's creating the young uns. He's creating a structure all the way through the academy. He's helping to do that. You know, he's setting things in place. So like George has said before, so everybody at the club plays the same way, they plays the same style, that it's going to work all the way through. Why would Eddie Howe, his best skill for me, we've now as a club got all the people, or getting the people in the right places to buy players, to scout players, to search for different areas. Howe's job is to train and coach the players to the best possible ability. Would he be able to do that in England? No. He would see them once in a blue moon, called up for a particularly friendly or a tournament or whatever, he wouldn't have that day-to-day contact with the players. That is what Howe does best. We've seen it. The guys have said it over and over again. He gets a player, he builds their confidence, he gets the best out of them. Why would he want to give that? I don't believe for a minute Howe would give that away. And I think the difference now with the owners that we've got, it's their first manager in the club since they've owned the club. I think they're going to be prepared to give him that chance to do things his way. Yes, there's going to be pressure to succeed, but they, like everything else I've said, Steve, there'll be a plan for where they want us to get this season, where they want us to get next season, what we've got to do to build on it, and what they accept. And it's just, God forbid to have any plans. Anybody starts slagging Howe off, because at the minute for me he's untouchable. Where he's brought us to in the short time he has, he's absolutely untouchable. Not since Keegan have I just said, let the guy get on with it and just do what he wants. Because I trust him.
Correct.
Well said, Barry.
Okay, Vince.
Yeah, just like I said, like says, I mean, again, I'm writing the crowd. I can't believe we're talking about it, but I'm not surprised Mr. Positive brought it up. Like says, but no, like says, yeah, Eddie Howe is part of this process. They looked for the manager and they went for Eddie Howe. They looked at him and seen what they needed. And like says, when I was watching all the games they're doing, you could see the little improvements everywhere. People were still whinging, we're not fully winning games, but you could see the team getting fitter, getting faster, getting just like says charging, working better, and you could see it growing and growing and growing. Like says, this, like, he knows what he's doing, and he's already said that. He's come out and said, we asked him with England, he says, no, I want to be full time. I want to be doing that. That's kind of like, it's just part time. It's not interesting. And like he says, he's a young man. He's 45, good looking, just like me. Like his so she's got plenty of years in him. You know what I mean?
Keane said that, didn't he? Kevin Keane said that. He hated the England job because his motto was deal with the players, and he never liked the England job, did he?
Yeah. No, exactly. But like it says, Eddie's part of this process. Yeah, like says, give him the time, give him the 5 years. What he's done in a short period is just absolutely astounding. It is, like says, and he's already said his family are becoming Geordies, so just they're all feeding in everything. He's got, like says, he's come here and he's got it. He's got the fans. He understands the area. Like says, who can you think of would replace him? And like says, the damage it would probably do. So no, I think the owners have seen Eddie, seen what he's done, have faith in him. As like says, we all have faith in the process. They have faith in him. And like says, yeah, I can see it. I can see him going for a while. Yeah.
Well, one thing Alan's topic of conversation tonight has done is show that everyone is still very much behind Eddie Howe and in the Eddie Howe fan club. Jimmy, we're not going to suddenly fall out of love with Eddie Howe, are we? Whether we're management, whether we're fans, people are going to have to give him a bit of time, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a free hit for a couple of years. The real pressure will come when we get our financials in order and get rid of these bad contracts and start bringing in.
Yeah.
I'll get to a point to where we don't have to fight other teams for players. And once that happens, then I think he'll be scrutinized a little more by the ownership. But right now, they realize that, I mean, he's basically made chicken salad out of chicken, you know what, with a lot of these players that we have on the team. And so at least a couple of years he's safe. But like you say, who else is out there?
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody else.
Alan, you started this conversation.
Well, it's 5 years for me, lads, with FFP. 5 years, like Darren said, and the lads before us. I only bring it up, Vince, because, like I say it to Spenny, I watch different mags, and the pressure from the national press and opposing fans. The thing that Eddie Howe's done for me, which I'm so proud about, is every time, every opposing fan, when they say we're playing Newcastle next week at St James's Park, they're frightened city. Also, no matter what, every fan from the top clubs downwards, instead of 14 years prior to that, we've got a great chance for 3 points. Every podcast, they'll all say, that's going to be a tough game. And that's what Eddie Howe's done already in the 18 months, made Newcastle United and St James's Park a fortress. I only bring it up, lads, and that's why I go on these podcasts, Benny, see what the enemies think of us. It's all right having a black and white view, but Eddie Howe's saved for me for 5 years to make him build up a team to try and win the Premier League title. At the end of the day, lads, it's not just about us. It's about the owners and what they want as well.
Yeah.
Because it reverts back to our first question, lads, about the pressure of, like getting the players in and wanting success, and why aren't we signing players to get the number one, where it's going to take a lot longer with FFP rules and 4 chief than the Man City and Chelsea in the past. So I give them 5 years easy before I even think about wanting to change the manager, unless Eddie Howe, of course, wants to go himself, mind.
Okay, Spenny.
When you got to think yourself, why was Eddie Howe employed by the club? Because he was in with the project. The project is 6 years and building on, and Amanda's turned around and said she hopes we will win the league in 6 or 7 years. We're above the project at the moment. So, yes, he's got that little lightweight. I can see him here being here for life, to be honest, the way he's going on. If he wins the trophy, and we haven't won a trophy for so long, in the next couple of years, he'll have a statue outside. Put it this way. Also, the England job, no way Eddie Howe will be interested in the England job. He's a 14-hour bloke working. England job is maybe once or twice a week. Look, and go and watch some football games. Do you see Eddie Howe doing that? Being a workaholic he is? No way. No. He's in that project there. He's being employed in that project because he's a young manager who has the same ideas as the owners have. Progress.
Well said. Well said.
Okay, Kevin, finishing off on this.
I'll completely agree with everybody. However, I'll throw this one in. By the end of the 25-26 year or that season, if he hasn't won something, I think that's the decision of the board, of the ownership. That's the decision when it'll be made. Whether do you carry on with him or not? Because ultimately, as the owners have said, and as we want, it's all about lifting trophies at the end of the day. Yes, England's not for him. Agree with Spenny, he's a 14-hour-a-day workaholic and all of that sort of stuff. And he's even come out and said he doesn't want to do the England job. Yes, if he gets it, it'll be a great honour and a pleasure. Like any Englishman would love to, coach England or whatever, but it's not for him. But again, I think with the 7 to 8 windows that he'll have by the end of that season or so, give or take, or whatever, I haven't really done the math. I've just jotted a few numbers down. So it's around about in 7-8 windows. If he hasn't won something by the end of the 25-26 season, then he might have to start asking.
Also, I'd like to point out as well, sorry to interrupt them, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man U, they're in the state they are because they keep changing the managers.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And again,
why
it's
do we
Chelsea. Spenny, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Again, it's this process. We've just got to let him. Again, he's one of the best coaches in the country, and for me, and outside of Pep, he's next level. But again, it's the win the business of winning things, and that's what he needs to do.
Look at Man City as well and Chelsea when they got took over. How long did it take them to get a trophy? How long did they take it? Time tells getting the right people in.
Yeah. Change doesn't always work out, guys, and that's worth a lesson worth learning for any football club owner. The hour has been and gone. Been an absolute pleasure. Thanks to Kevin, to Spenny, to Alan, to Jimmy, to Barry, to Ian, to Darren, to George, and to Vince, and everybody in the chat, all the moderators as well. I'm back 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon with Ross Gregory. Look forward to seeing you all then. Take care, guys.
Thanks,
we still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.